right. Hey. Welcome to Lunch Break with Shel. My name is Shel Anderson, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I do short Lunch Break with Shel video tutorials Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Central Standard Time on my Facebook page as well as my YouTube channel. And I also do Facebook Live videos on Wednesday evenings at 6:30 Central Standard Time. I thank you so much for joining me today. Today's video is going to feature the Daffodil Daydream stamp set from the annual catalog, as well as the coordinating daffodil dies. I haven't got this totally thought out in my head, to be honest. We're just going to wing it today and see what we come up with. I've also pulled out the Artistic Mix decorative masks. I haven't even used these yet, I'll be blatantly honest, and that is the purpose of this video, to use these dies. And they are all fabulous, but I think I'm going to use this one here, and I am going to get these ones out of the way. My card base today is Orchid Oasis, and my matte layer is Granny Apple Green, and my inside panel is white as well as my outside panel. So let's just do some folding and scoring here and get the inside panel in the card and out of the way before I get ink on it. That sounds like a good plan, because I think we're going to get a little bit messy here today. I'm going to bring in some blending brushes and some inks, and we'll see what we can come up with. All right, that part is done. I'm going to take that mat and just set that aside. And the only thing I'm going to have here on my work surface is my focal piece. All right, so if I was smart, I would have brought some tape. Let me see if I can find some washi tape, which we can use to affix this to our silicone mat. Wow, this is really thin washi tape that I found. I've got a basket right full of this stuff from my scrapbooking days. And I'm just going to press that into that. And I'm kind of using the lines on my mat as well. I need to get a different tape. This one is garbage. Frankly, it's garbage. All right. So now I'm going to take a piece, and because I'm using those lines on my silicone mat, I'm going to tape my silicone mat to my work surface, and then I am going to just in that corner and that corner, and then the trick with this is, or the trick that I find with this is, if you tape this down and you want to take a peek, you can lift it up and put it back down in place. Tricky, eh? All right, so now the only thing we have to figure out is what color we are going to do our ink blending in the background. So I'm thinking that we're going to go Orchid Oasis for one, and Granny Apple Green, but do we want 3 colors? The flowers are going to be yellow, so maybe we'll just do 2. All right, let's start out at the bottom with Granny Apple Green. And let me find the brush that I want, the brushes that I want. There's my, oh, I'm not doing yellow. Turquoise. There's the purple or blue and green. Where? Oh, there we go. All right. Now, let me just rub this off and make sure there's no ink in there. And I'm just going to load up this brush with some Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to hold this mat down and start adding some color. Now you can add as much or as little as you like. I'm kind of looking at sort of the halfway point. And it doesn't have to be even matchy-matchy. And I don't care if it's dark, I just want it to be no white spots. Let's take a peek. Maybe a little bit more up here. I'm happy with that. Got ink all over me, but I'm happy with that. All right, we're going to close that one up, and we are going to grab the Orchid Oasis. Now, let me grab some paper. There seems to be an awful lot of blue in this one, and I don't want to contaminate my ink pad. So I'm just rubbing that out onto a piece of scrap paper. And now we will pick up this pomegranate. I'm going to tap, ooh, wow, I got a lot of ink here. All right, let's just go light. And we'll just gradually build. Not pretty. Something like that. Let's have a peek. I think I'm going to stop there. I can't get any better than that, I don't think. I think that looks really good. All right, close up those ink pads. Let's tear this off and set it aside before we get ink on everything. And then we will lift these up. Now, as you can see, right on that edge, there is a white spot. You don't notice this one so much, but I'm just going to take that brush and fill that in, so it's not so noticeable. I think I need to put some more ink on my brush. I don't want too much. Let's have a look. There, a little less noticeable now than a big white spot where I had my tape. All right, let's lift this up and this up. Get that tape off the back and get this dirty mat out of the way. All right, we should be all right here. Let me just give a little. All right, there we have our panel. Cool beans. So this is going to get layered on here like so. I think we're going to put that together right away. I'm being a little bit generous with the glue because I want this to be nice and secure. A nice little border all the way around so that it pops on that background. Now I'm not going to attach it yet because I'm not sure what I'm doing. Now we're going to get to stamping our daffodils. And I think, let's bring this panel in here for a minute. I think we want this big one. Yes, I do. I think that's what we want. So we'll set that up there and bring in the Stamparatus. And we're going to need a piece of cardstock to stamp our, let's go something like that. I'm just going to grab some snips and cut off the excess. All right, now we need some magnets. I'll just put that in there, something like that, because we're going to die cut this after we get this stamped. And I think I'm going to use Stampin' Blends. So we'll be using Memento ink because Memento ink and Stampin' Blends are friends. Now you could just as easily use StazOn and watercolor this. Let's stamp it one more time. I like my images nice and dark and crisp. Beautiful. All right. Let's take this out of here. Now, just because in my last video I smudged my card, I am going to make sure that I don't do that this time. I'm going to take a second and I'm just going to heat set this just a little bit because I don't want two messed up videos in a row. Just want to make sure that all that ink is dry.
My last video, I stamped my greeting and then proceeded on with my card and smudged it because it wasn't dry. So I don't want that to happen tonight. All right, there is our daffodil. I am going to bring in my little baby boss here and we will find the coordinating die.
Oh, look at this cute little butterfly. I think we should die cut him too. we will find some scraps and die cut him too. Alright, let's get this baby lined up. And perhaps I will, oops, trying to do two things at once. Perhaps I will reuse some of this washi tape to hold this in place. While we're die cutting. Alright, let's die cut that. Alright, I've got that. Now, I'd like to have, let me see what I can find in my scrap bin for a butterfly. I really wanted a little wee piece of granny apple green, but this is the only size piece that I have. So it looks like I'm going to be cutting a big piece. And we're going to cut a couple of these butterflies. Because they're so stinking cute. Here's one. And let's do another. There. We'll use those to embellish our card. Now, let me get that guy out of there. And we'll get this machine out of the way. And the die's back in the package. And this one too. Now we get to do some coloring. Wow, that's really stuck on there. There we go. Get this die back in the package. I'll save that washi tape for later. Alright, now we get to do some coloring. And I am going to bring in another silicone mat to put under this. And I'm going to bring in Orchid Oasis and Granny Apple Green. And I don't want Orchid Oasis, I want Daffodil Delight. Yeah, never seen purple daffodils before. Alright, I think I'm going to start and use this to do a base everywhere in light So Saffron. And then I will use, not So Saffron, light daffodil. And then I will come back with the dark and do some highlighting. And I need to switch to the other end or I'm going to be making a mess. Okay, back here. There we go. Now I'm going to do the same thing with light Granny Apple Green. I'm going to just quickly fill in the leaves, and then once we get that done, we'll see if we can add some darker areas if needed with the dark granny apple. Spin this around. And leaf going down the back side here. All right, so far so good. Now we're going to get the dark daffodil, and we are going to add some highlights, some shading, and I'm just basically using the artist's lines is all I'm doing. I'm not getting fancy. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. I've just added a little bit, and then I'm just going to quickly, with the So Saffron, blend those lines out so they're not so harsh. This is So Saffron Light that I'm blending with, and I'm just kind of blending them in a little bit, like so. I'm going to do the same thing with the dark granny apple, and I think what I'm going to do here is just the long tall leaves, not the stems. I'm just going to add a little bit here and there. Kind of just going up one side of the leaf. All right, so this is what it looks like now before I blend it. And then I'm going to take the light, and the same as I did before, just kind of go over it a little bit in a circular motion. And blend it out. I'm happy with that. And that's what it looks like blended. All right. I think it's time to put this card together. What do you think? I have a card base somewhere. There is our beautiful bouquet. And we have a couple of butterflies. And I think those butterflies should have some bling-a-bling on there of some sort. Maybe a little pearl. I've got some old Stampin' Up! Ones that are still in strings. Remember when we used to get them like this? If I can get them out of the package. Where they were all stringed together. I bet you we could fit maybe 3 on here. I'm going to try it. I am going to try it and see. I can get them lifted. Look at that. Perfect fit. 3. let's do this little guy too. Oh, this one's got a little bit of glue at the end that I had to take off. There we go. And we'll push those little wings up. Give a little dimension. Speaking of dimension, we'll put this on dimensionals so that it's beautiful. All right, I'm going to use these side pieces. And that piece will go there. And then this big long piece will go to there. This is working out well. I'm going to put another one in there. And I bet you I can cut a little skinny strip here. Maybe. Let's see what I've done here. Maybe I should start at this end. There we go. Oh, that's going to be too long. And a little piece, it's still too long. Heavens to Betsy. We don't want our dimensional showing, that's for sure. There we go. We are good. All right. Get all this glue off my scissors. And we'll move those out of our way. All right, I am going to put my flowers on here. Remove all these paper backings. And I'm going to put that somewhere right about there. And now we're going to need glue dots for these beautiful little butterflies. And then we have to consider a greeting. Man, these glue dots are so sticky, they do not want to release from the paper. There's our first little guy. And there's our second little guy. All right, now we need to talk ribbon, embellishment, and greeting. So, I have a little strip of white right here that we can use for a greeting. Where did I put my daffodil stamp? Okay, the greetings in that one is Happy Mother's Day and Easter Blessings. So I'm not going to use either of those. How about thinking of you? That is a nice greeting. And I haven't cleaned this stamp yet, so we better do that now so that we can use this Stamparatus. All right, I am going to put the Stamparatus up here, attach our little strip of white, And I'm going to stamp this guy right here-ish. And I'm going to use black ink. And man, oh man, is that crooked. Well, that wasn't very smart, was it? Let's clean this stamp and try this on this end. I think it's straight now. I'm not sure, but I think it's straight. Yes, it is. All right, I can live with that. And we'll get rid of this ink pad before I put my elbow in it. That's been done a time or two. All right, let's trim out this greeting and see what we're going to do with it. I think it's a little big. I'm going to trim it down a little bit. That's better. There we go. I like that better. So now we have a greeting. We need to have some embellishments. This greeting I am going to pop up on dimensionals. And I'm just going to put, actually I'm going to get a new sheet of dimensionals. Wow, that one's empty. Because I'm going to have to double stack my greeting because my flower is already on dimensionals. So if I double stack my dimensionals here on each end, I'll be able to go across the stem without it looking all wonky. You know what I mean? We don't want no wonky greetings. All right, we will put this in place. I'm going to put it like this, off-centered, and I think I'm going to put a bow there of some sort. Let me see what I can find in my ribbons. I don't know what it's going to be. This one is way too big. So we're going to go to the next drawer. And see what we can see. We don't have anything in this drawer. this drawer. So we could use this. Or we could use this. This is pretty. Let's see what this would look like. No, I don't like that. I think we're going to go with that Orchid Oasis. I'm not fond of the metallic that's in it, but that's okay. Didn't really think this through because I was going to put it around behind the greeting, but I've got dimensional all the way down there and I don't think I can lift it. Alright, we're going to try it. See what kind of damage I do. So far, so good. And let's see if I can lift this just enough to slide that under without ripping. Okay. And push that back down in place. That can go right across there. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, then we'll wrap this around and leave our tails long enough that we can do something with it. There we go. I think I'm going to tie this in a knot before I tie the bow. Just to make my life easier. And I don't anticipate that this is going to make a beautiful bow because it's so thin, but it is color coordinated and it's not going to be overpowering. So that's kind of what we were going for. Now just pull these tails a little bit and zhuzh up this bow. There we go. I can live with that. And I'm going to glue this flat on because we've got dimension on the front of the card. And we're just going to center this up in the middle of this panel, like so. Give that a good press. And then we will trim the tails of this crazy bow. And I think I'm going to get a little tiny glue dot. And I think one of these little paper pumpkin ones will be just what the doctor ordered to put underneath that bow. Now get that paper backing off. Maybe. There we go. And press that in place. There we go. That, my friends, is our card. That ink blended background really set the stage for that card. And it says, thinking of you, and then just plain inside. And that is using the Go-To Greetings and the Daffodil, what's it called? Daffodil Daydream. So I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. As I said previously, I am here Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Central Standard Time, as well as Wednesday nights for Facebook Live at 6:30. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Bye-bye.